enough to drop on you with my disintegrating pistol. And brother, when it disintegrates, it disintegrates. Well, what do you know? It's disintegrated.
Sufferin Succotash!
These Warner Brothers cartoons, it was a way to promote the brand and say, this is the kind of energy and craziness that you will then see in our movies.
Of course you realize this means war.
The whole thing with Warner's was that all this material was all together in one place.
How many, please? 1 adult and 3 children, please.
And of course, the animators, some of whom started as animators and then went and became directors, were among the best of the business.
What? Hey, you want a good job?
You really had this perfect dream team. You had Chuck Jones, Tex Avery, Bob Clampett, Fritz Freeling, these wonderful directors that came in and were responsible for making Looney Tunes cartoons the best and the brightest of all the classic animated shorts.
What ridiculous histrionic, what ridiculous acting.
The cartoons were part of the fabric of going to movies.
Welcome to Sherwood.
Funny, that never happens to Errol Flynn.
They're just as cinematic gems as Citizen Kane, Wizard of Oz, Casablanca. These cartoons were aimed at the entire movie-going audience.
Usher! This man's annoying me.
Well, the Warner Brothers pictures in general were snappy and edgy, topical. They had a particular style.
My parents and my grandparents weren't laughing at Mickey Mouse, but they were dying laughing at Looney Tunes.
Aren't you ashamed of yourself? Roasting children.
Call it a weakness.
There's still stuff in there that is just unbelievably funny.
That's one of the beauties of watching it, and I think it's the reason why they don't age. Whether you look at them from the eyes of a 7-year-old kid or a 50-year-old guy, you see something that's full and complete that's speaking directly to you.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire.
One of the things that the Warner Brothers cartoons excelled at, if not created, was the idea of the Hollywood caricature animated.
Hello, Anne. How's the oomph girl tonight?
Oomph, 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 oomph.
Because now you can add the voice to it. You can add some more outrageous things to it. The Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies back then were sort of the equivalent to Mad Magazine, where they were making fun of the other things you saw in the media.
Hitler is a stinker? That's no military secret. Yeah, everybody knows that.
Having worked at SNL and everything, when they did send-ups of present-day stars, it was a lot of topical stuff.
What a beautiful hand you have, Miss Heartburn.
I mean, Looney Tunes was really ahead of its time, and I think what later became kind of like really irreverent sketch comedy, you could go back to Looney Tunes for sure.
Talk.
And you get a sense of what people in that world, what they thought satire and parody was, especially the Looney Tunes, where they actively make fun of Hollywood.
Are you the great director, Megaphone?
I'm traveling incognito.
The cartoons were specifically riding on the coattails of some popular Warner Brothers movie.
You know who.
9 times out of 10, whoever Bugs Bunny was interacting with in that cartoon was the star of the movie you were about to watch.
Hey, mister. Will you take a fellow American to a meal?
Hope that fickle fate have nothing up her sleeve.
Say, pardon me, but could you help out a fellow American who's down on his luck?
Hit the road!
Now, when you were seeing this cartoon in front of a Warner Brothers movie, which is how they were originally designed, it made perfect sense.
Hey, that wasn't in the script.
Humor didn't cost any extra money, but it was a way for them to distinguish themselves amongst the crowded field of cartoons at that time.
Turn out those lights!
When you sit down and watch a Looney Tunes cartoon, anything could happen, and everything does happen.
They're just trying to make themselves laugh. This is what we find funny, and if we find it funny, someone else will find it funny.
Let justice be done. Tear up that mortgage. Unhand that rancher's daughter.
Everything was so inspired, and it came from, I think, genuinely funny people.
Martin Scorsese, he says, every now and then, I'll go back and watch a Looney Tune because in 7 minutes, they're able to get all the characterization you need, all the backstories, and a story arc in 7 minutes. That's 420 seconds.
The reason they endure is they're clever, they're well animated. That's another piece of the cultural puzzle about a time that's being preserved. It's a public service.
All right. Let's get this picture started. No! Listen, pal. Let's discuss this thing sanely, huh? Look, I tell you what.